Hello again, I'm Bob Weir with another interview of people in the news in North Texas. My guest today is Flower Mound resident Richard Steenson, past president of the Flower Mound Area Republican Club, a precinct chair, and an active participant in many other community functions. Thank you for being here, Richard.
Thanks for inviting me. I'm really enjoying this.
And I'm glad to see we're both wearing our 22 kill rings to support for the military. If you would, Richard, begin by telling our viewers something about your background.
Born in California because that's where my dad came back in after the service in World War II in Korea. And his job took him to Phoenix for a few years where I was 2nd, 3rd, and 4th grade. Then to Lubbock where I was 5th, 6th, and 7th grade, starting the 8th. And then finally to Richardson, which got me to the Dallas area. And after I finished high school, I went to school up at North Texas in Denton. And from there back to Dallas for a few years, and then got married, settled down in Richardson. Then my company relocated to Denton County, and that gave me the opportunity to come to Flower Mound and get more involved in Denton County, and not only for the political reasons, but also gets me close to my alma mater in North Texas and get more involved in the athletic department there. So along those lines, I got very involved in politics, doing a lot of things that most people don't want to get involved in, but I feel like it's important. It's the things I learned when I was in high school about the threat to this country have motivated me, and that motivation just simply has not left me. I'm happy to pursue that. So.
And your involvement is in Republican politics.
Yes, absolutely.
So you go back to, according to, I was looking at your your bio, and you go back to the days of Barry Goldwater and LBJ, as I do, and I remember those days and how the Republican Party has been involved in the conservative wing of the country, so to speak, for the most part. Anyway, let me just ask you, when was Flower Mound Area Republican Club formed?
We started that right at the end of 2009, so that means we're going into our 10th year.
10 years, huh?
Yeah.
And where are the meetings held and how often?
We are currently meeting at Bridlewood Golf Club. We started out at Salerno's. We got too big for that. We went to non-social, and Bill Smithwick chose to take that to a catering-only operation, so we lost that. And then Representative Tam Parker helped us line up this place at Bridlewood, and we've been there for a couple of years now. They've been very good to us.
Yeah, it's a very nice place. There's plenty of room. You always have a very nice buffet that people can, if they like to, take part in. And you have a lot of great guest speakers. Who is the next guest speaker?
Tonight, we have Alice Linehan, who is very passionate about what's being taught in the schools. She's very passionate about education issues and also legislative issues, and we're going to be hear about both of those tonight.
Yeah, I've heard a lot about Alice Linehan. Yes, she has quite a reputation in Republican.
And we just found out yesterday that next month we're going to have Representative Ron Simmons, who just got defeated in southeast part of the county, but
that was a surprise.
Staying very involved, and he's really anxious to come speak to us. So.
And how does someone join the Flower Mound Area Republican Club?
Oh, that's the easiest way is to get on our website, fmarc.us. FMARC stands for Flower Mound Area Republican Club, and .us is the rest of the URL. You can join there or come to our meetings. Second Tuesday night each month, except December. We take a social break, and except during the summer, we will take a break in July. Bridlewood, social hour, and optional buffet, like you mentioned a minute ago, start at 6 o'clock, and then the meeting starts at 7. Sometimes we change that if we have a candidate forum with a lot of speakers, but otherwise it's pretty much that same schedule.
And the price for the buffet is pretty reasonable too, isn't it?
Yeah.
What is it about? Not like
$15.
15, yeah. That's pretty good. And you have drinks as well.
Oh, yeah.
How about the dues for the club? How much is that?
20 for one, 30 for a couple.
That's for the entire year, right?
Yeah.
$30.
Calendar year, January through December. So it keeps it easy for us to manage it that way. So.
Okay, let's talk about you as a Denton County Precinct Chair. For those people who don't know, what are the duties of a chair?
Obviously, to maximize the Republican vote in the precinct is the ultimate goal, but there's a lot of background work that does that. To walking the precinct, getting to know people who live in the precinct, communicating with them, getting campaign materials passed out during elections, being involved also in the club is one responsibility of precinct chair. So you have an opportunity to outreach with the rest of the community. Education, attending the monthly CEC meeting, so because the precinct chairs are in effect the executive committee of the Denton County Republican Party. So we're responsible for the party.
So, and who elects the precinct chair?
The voters in each precinct the same day as the primary. What a lot of people don't seem to understand is the primary is a party function. It's not ever meant to be a general election where you just go in and vote for both parties. It's meant to be Democrat Party has Democrats go vote for their candidates and party organization. Republican Party has people go in and vote for their candidates and organizations. So the precinct chairman and the county chairman are actually elected on the day of the primary every 2 years in March.
Okay, so a term is 2 years. And I understand the precinct chairs receive a huge salary, right?
It has absolutely zero impact on my tax bracket.
That's
Now, if you end up being an election judge, there is minimal pay for that that's required by state law, but that again will not impact the tax bracket. So
now that's what I'm trying to point out. You do this for free.
Yes.
You volunteer for this, and volunteers. If we didn't have all the volunteers that we have and the things that they do, you couldn't even run the county. Tell us about some of the other groups you're associated with.
Many years ago, I guess about 10 years ago, when I was in Flower Mound, still fairly new, I got in touch with a guy named John Thomas. John was very active in the Summit Club. John and I started communicating about a variety of issues. He got me to a Summit Club meeting, and I got very interested very quickly because a way to help the community, a great bunch of guys to associate with. And unfortunately, we lost John like within a month of that meeting, but his legacy lives on. The club continues to grow. We've got the annual fundraisers we've got coming up in the 1st of March, 2nd March. And we're able to do a lot of stuff for the community, cooking hot dogs at Children's Parade, for example, cooking pancakes for the breakfast for Santa, raising money and giving it to CCA or the Scouts or organizations like that, even some of the high school robotics clubs and NCTC scholarship funds. So a lot of service to the community, a lot of fundraising that supports the community, especially with the emphasis on the kids through robotics clubs, Boy Scouts and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I remember John Thomas, a really nice man.
Oh, yeah.
So it was strange that he suddenly passed like that. And the Summit Club, I'd like to say also, is one of those organizations that volunteers. They do so much for the community, so much community advocacy, raising funds for the children in school, giving out awards for the youngsters and stuff. So it is a great organization also. I want to mention that I noticed in your bio that you used to be a presidential motorcade driver for White House staff and at DFW events for Bush and Quayle.
Yeah, apparently one of my close friends got involved in that group that responsible for the motorcade anytime Bush came to town during his 4-year term, and I got invited to do that. Even to drive a van that had White House staff or wire media. Interesting stuff. Sometimes it was a whole weekend, sometimes it was just one afternoon. But yeah, that was pretty exciting stuff. Driving out to the airport tarmac, parking next to Air Force One, and going to places like T. Boone Pickens' house, or maybe a highway groundbreaking or something like that. It's all kinds of different things.
That'd be very interesting.
Oh yeah, I could tell a lot of stories about that, but we wouldn't have time today.
Okay, how about that? How can people contribute some of their time to their towns and cities?
I think a couple of ways. One is find time to go to a club meeting. And that's probably a deeper involvement than most want to do. But let me say this. Before an election, precinct chairs are looking for help to pass out campaign materials or go knock on neighbors' doors, even if they just had one volunteer for each block that would stay on top of the people who live in that block and know who's supporting you and so forth, and have a chance to meet people and so forth. That can help. Just a little bit a person can do can go a long ways.
And let me also mention that the Summit Club is nonpartisan, so.
That's correct.
If you're involved in the Summit Club, it's not a political thing, it's just a community thing to help
Exactly.
all people in the community.
By design.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
All right, well, I'm getting the high sign, so I guess it's time to wrap up. I just want to thank you, Rich, for being here and for your ongoing commitment to the community.
Well, I appreciate that, Bob.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for watching.